Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Willie here. Why are you min-maxing the fun out of the game? This is a sentiment I hear, I read, and I just see in general a lot when it comes to talking about Classic Online. Whenever there's a post about the latest speedrun, some kind of meme about world buffs, there's always that one guy who has to bring up that people aren't having fun if they're going to this extent of preparation with their character. On one hand, you have people saying, can you believe some people take 3 hours just to clear AQ40 or Nax each week? Imagine spending that long in there. There's no way that can be fun. Just look at their logs. You know, Fiery Weapon is a bad enchant, Arcane Missile shouldn't be used over Frostbolt or Fireball. You shouldn't use Consecration, that's going to take up a debuff slot. I mean, at this point, half your players are just griefing, and are you still listening here? You're not playing the game properly. And then you have the other extreme where you see people saying, me and my SO just started leveling our Night Elf Druid Hunter combo in the starting zones. We have matching names, and let me tell you, we are having a blast. Imagine spending hours a week picking up all those world buffs to make a fast raid even faster. Why bother going to that effort? Thousands of gold a week on consumables? I don't have time to farm all that extra stuff out. Can you believe people play like this? They aren't playing the game as it was designed to be played. Yeah, it's this fun little topic again. You know, history really does repeat itself. I think it was around Blackwing Lure time when this kind of thing started popping up originally for me back during Classic. And on one hand, it was cleared within the first hour it was released. On the other hand, some guilds were legitimately stuck on Firemore for several raid nights. Really two totally different perspectives on the game. Raiding has always been an easy go-to example though, and one of the ones that frequently pops up the most, as it pretty clearly separates the people pushing performance from the ones who are just there to see the sights and smell the flowers. I mean, is there even a right way to play games? Well, yes, but actually no. It depends on the game really, doesn't it? If you're playing a racing game and you want to drive a Mini but everyone else has an F1 car, that's going to be a problem. For MMORPGs, can you play the game objectively correctly? Well, with a certain degree of leeway, yes you can. Speedrunning Naxxramas, competing for world ranks. If you have a choice between 20 Fury Warriors and 20 Boomies, well, that's not so much of a choice in reality, is it? If you are leveling on Darkshore on your Druid, well, no, there's not really a better way to play. Whatever makes you level up is fine enough, I guess. And moreover, who even cares at that point what you're doing? People really seem to make a point of caring, and caring about how other people play. And it's kind of a bit like what you see on retail actually. The guys at the very top end don't care at all how anyone else plays because they are surrounded with a huge network of really good players that they can pretty much rely upon at any time of the day to play the game. And then there's the guys who are mega casual and often don't really get into these discussions or watching too many videos about the game, and you know, they just hop on now and again, maybe do an hour or two of leveling and then go back to their normal life. It's the in-between people who care, the ones who have raids where you have a couple of guys who min-max and others that turn up on the night with beers in hand, or where you see people who play hardcore hours but only ever see casual level results. The hardcore casual is a real demographic, you know, in both versions of the game. Buffing each week and chain popping consumables and then the hunter double pulls. Someone forgets which side to go on Thaddeus, somebody chains Holy Wrath on Zeliek, somebody goes down the stairs and pulls multiple gargoyle packs. The raiding is simple, but it doesn't take much for something to go very wrong very fast. And with only one raid difficulty, which is true all the way up to Ulduar in Wrath of the Lich King, unless you really want to count the achievements in tier 7 that is, people create their own challenge, which is why speedrun has become such a huge thing for Classic. The guild None of the Above just did a sub 45 minute Naxxramas clear. That's less than 3 minutes per boss kill, by the way. That's how hard people have figured out the top end in the game. With a good deal of help from the PTR, of course. And for a lot of people, min-maxing is the fun in the game. Me, I like leveling. I think it's good content. I've leveled 10 level 60s without boosting them, and I thought it was fun. It was something nice and chill to do in the evening. Some people raid multiple times per week on the same class, or they have a main raid, an alt raid, a GDKP raid, ZG raids for mounts, another GDKP raid, and then a binding run. And if I'd tried doing that, I would lose my mind within the space of 2 weeks. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like raids too. I get all my buffs for every single raid, because when I have all the buffs, you know what happens? When I press Shadow Bolt, it make a big number on my screen, which activates the neuron thing that make happy. Does that make sense? And when TBC comes out, am I going to be questing out in the open world and taking it slowly as you may expect from somebody who likes their leveling? Nope, absolutely not. I have zero faith the open world will be in any form playable whatsoever. Maybe I'll be wrong, but I do already have a dungeon group set up to go on day one, if we can all get online that is. And there's plenty of other benefits of leveling through dungeons, but I would quite like to be able to play the game on launch, so I feel this is something that everybody is going to have to do really. But you can always come back and see the leveling through on alts at a later date if you really wanted to. At least I've heard that Black Morass and Old Hillsbrad Foothills are bad XP, so we won't be chain grinding those instances, which I'm really happy about, because all I can think about when those come to mind are Violent Hold version 1 and Thrall's RP, which takes forever, and it turns out he hasn't even trained 100% riding speed. It was really easy to fall into habits in Classic which were required to fully optimize your character at the expense of your in-game experience in some cases, namely world buffs and the forced raid logging that came with that, early ranking in Alterac Valley which was running it down mid, which was as boring as watching paint dry, yet you had to do it because best honor per hour, the cost of consumables week in, week out, especially if your raid is prone to a wipe or two. And you think about TBC comparatively in the recent actions that Blizzard has done, as in they've killed off profession swapping to min-max dual crafting and enchanting. There'll be no world buffs that you could have got from mind controlling or enslaving demon on certain mobs to apply buffs to each other. There's way less consumables needed for raids. What will even be the big complaints from TBC when we look back in about 2 years' time and we're moving to Wrath? More gameplay-oriented stuff rather than things players have put on themselves, I would think. Moving on with the random thoughts here, I was trying some Arena the other day on the beta on a mage, and I've literally never played mage in TBC Arena, and man, you really forget how fun the game can be when you're completely clueless. And it's kind of hard for me at least to be clueless in any area of the game because I've just played it so much over the years, but coming back to PvP after so much time was it was an experience, and let's just say I was doing stuff a bit like this. Press the button! What? Why did it come over? Oh no, the totem! So yeah, I'm actually so bad at the game, but you know what? Dare I say it? I had a blast. Well, apart from people duoing in skirmishes, Mage Rogue or Druid Hunter have played the game for years and just deleted me, there is a pretty steep learning curve in TBC Arena as I found out. But that's the thing about MMOs, they can be such great games, but man, the players, they can really make it or break it. And that's kind of how min-maxing goes for leveling, raiding, PvP, whichever area of the game you want to apply it to. And I think there's actually a lot less scope for min-maxing stuff in TBC compared to Classic as well. I guess the point is, WoW's a game that offers a lot of different ways to play, and as we've seen in, well, every expansion ever, there tends to be a best way to go about doing that, and that becomes more true the higher level of gameplay you aim for. And believe me, people started to figure things out a lot more in TBC than we ever saw with Classic. Do some people overdo it? Yeah, probably they do. Is it a big deal? Nah, not really. After all, it's your free time, and if you don't like how you're spending it, then why are you doing it in the first place? Well, apart from playing MMOs still because you're waiting for one to come along and shake up the market a bit, because you've probably been playing the same one on and off for a very long time. I know I have. Ashes of Creation after Wrath of the Lich King Classic? Now that'd be an interesting timeline, wouldn't it? Anyway guys, let me know what you think about the whole video. It was a bit of a random one. I just wanted to talk about the subject quickly because I see it brought up so often. It feels like it's applying to a demographic of people that don't even exist outside of people's minds. It kind of reminds me of how people envisioned world PvP at the start of phase 1 compared to what it ended up being, in that it's turned out to be a lot less popular and a lot more griefing and pretty heavily romanticized about the good old days. That's it though, I'm going to stop rambling there. As always guys, thank you so much for watching and listening in, and I'll see you all in the next one very soon.